welcome. This is the Hatz Partner Roundtable, where all of our partners, anyone in our community, is welcome to join. And we cover a lot of ground here. We move pretty quickly. We're going to cover a lot of adoption and education and resources. We're going to hear from one of our partners about their adoption and go-to-market journey. We're going to hear from Jimmy about what he's looking forward to in 2026. And we'll hear from JP and some other folks, and Matt Hamilton from the product team about what's coming and what's been worked on in the last 30 days. And I really want to encourage everyone to use the chat, ask questions, talk to each other. Love seeing that chat going crazy while we're presenting. So we'll give everyone just a second here to join in, and then we'll kick things off. Why does everyone put in the chat where you're calling in from and how you're using AI today? Let's just go with the basics. Okay. All right, it's 1:02, so we'll officially kick things off. Welcome to the roundtable. It is a roundtable format, which means you can interact with everyone, and we encourage that. We love to see that because other people might learn from the questions that you ask. Just want to start by looking back at 2025. This is literally a fraction of what Hatz did last year on new features and product updates. We looked at our change log and pulled like the headlines basically from every week. There were dozens more things here. We had a massive 2025, and as cool as that was, that's just the tip of the iceberg here. We're moving into 2026 at an even faster pace. So I wanted to pull Jimmy in, our co-founder, CEO of Hatz, to ask what he's excited about in 2026. Some things where he sees the industry heading, where he sees MSPs going, and just, kind of kick us off for the year, Jimmy. This is your floor is yours.
Thanks, Mark. I think 2026, like 2025 was definitely a year of experimentation, a lot of MSPs figuring out how to use AI internally. You saw a lot of like one or five people internally sort of like kicking around AI, and everyone else sort of like either not using it or like shadow using it without anything being official. And I think 2026 is the year of the MSP for getting into for like launching and running an AI business that's customer facing. And the reason that I think that is a lot of companies, most companies, I'd say, have been using some form of AI over the past year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever it is. Um, and it's gotten to the point where it's like, hey, we need to make this official. Many people are starting to be concerned about security as far as clients get concerned about security. But I just think that, like, there was a bit of time of like testing this thing, like, hey, do people really need this? Are people going to use this? Do clients need help with this? And, there's a lot of validation in 2025 that, like, yes, customers, like, will people use more technology in 2026? Yes. Will people need more help with technology in 2026? Yes. Will people use more AI in 2026? Yes. Will people need more help with AI in 2026? Yes. And, there hasn't been a lot of resources for small and medium sized businesses to really figure out how to use AI. Um, and in the operationalizing of things and making projects and actual like things like that and customers, a lot of them were like big in scope and focused on one particular area, but the general, like, let's raise the AI IQ of our company and let's do it securely, I think that's going to really materialize in a big way, and in it already did in 2025, but really can continue into 2026, in a scaled way, not just like early adopters.
That's awesome, Jimmy. I think that everyone's excited to kind of hear about how other MSPs are really taking the lead on this. And I know that a lot of their clients are already asking about AI and already using it. So we're ready to help you along that journey. Cool. So we're gonna launch a poll really quick. We'll leave it open for a few minutes to give you a chance to answer it. If you're brand new to hats, the answer to some of these might be on the lower end. But we hope that some of our more long-term partners are uh, getting their teams signed up, getting conversations scheduled with their clients to have conversations about secure AI. So feel free to take a second and answer that. And just some housekeeping things before we get into the product stuff and everything else. The next couple of roundtables are already scheduled out for February 4th and March 4th. We will get the links out for those after this when we send the recap. So go ahead and if you want to put those on your calendar, that's when the next two will be held. And I want to throw it over to Kelsey for a minute, just to talk about where in the world you might find us. I know we don't have a lot of specifics we're announcing yet, but Kelsey, what's the benefit to coming to the Hats booth? What can our partners expect?
Yes, hello. I always love being able to share where we're going to be and what we're going to be doing. We are just still in the process of planning all of that. So far, we will be in Orlando later this month, and JP will be headed to Louisville for a couple hosted things. But yeah, we are starting a new program this year, really exciting. Everybody's always asking for swag, and everybody always wants something that nobody else has. So we are implementing a exclusive swag experience. So bring your friends to the booth. You love hats. You're always talking about it. The more people you bring in, the more you get to share the love and the more really cool things I'm allowed to order and disperse to you guys. So let's yeah, kind of we're forming a social circle, a little bubble of exclusivity and a lot of fun stuff. So make sure if you're on the road this year that you make it a point to come find us and bring your friends to come talk with us. And if you're not on the road, working on things for y'all as well.
Thanks, Kelsey. All right. So, education and adoption and AI resources updates for all of you. First of all, we've had a lot of positive feedback and helpful feedback about what's needed in training and where any gaps are. And so we've implemented this quick AI skills course. A lot of you have started to go through that. I just want to let you all know it's updated regularly. We update that about once a week with new videos or updated videos as new features come out, as new LLMs come out, different things that would update or change the way you might interact with the platform. So that gets updated. When there's something new that comes out, we put a video out there for it. But if there's anything missing, I make videos based on what you tell me you want to see. So go ahead and let me know, and we'll put some videos out to help you build your AI skills. That is sort of a course that you can go through after completing the AI Navigator course. So learn how to use the platform, really build your foundation with champions, learn how to use hats with the Navigator course, and then stay up to date with all of these new quick 3 5 minute videos in the quick AI skills modules. And that's the very same process that we recommend all of your clients going through as well. Our YouTube channel got a new series this week. We have the first 10 episodes coming out over the next month. Jimmy said it earlier, raise the AI IQ. How do we do that? How do we go from tool thinking to operation system thinking? How do we go from just using AI as a chatbot to using it as so much more? How do you think about getting integrations into your business and turning it from something that you just kind of use every once in a while and then log out to something that runs all the time? How do you make those changes and those organization shifts? Well, that's what this is about. So, 5 minutes a day, you can listen to me talk about those things, answer some of those questions, and give examples of use cases to make it possible to do this in your org. So check those out. They're on YouTube. Third episode is coming out today after this roundtable. And
Love your YouTube thumbnails, Mark. Always have to call those out.
Thanks, Jimmy. I do have to say, Nano Banana has helped with some of those thumbnails. I've never actually run that far in my life. For that video, that was me running. It's not real. Um, so, uh, new feature announcements. We release things all the time, and you gotta stay up to date with everything that's new. This is a completely opt-in email that you can get once a week that talks about everything new that happened that the past week. It has a demo video, the documentation article, and some sample use cases for all of the new features. If you want to sign up for that, Kelsey is going to drop the link in the chat, and you can get those once a week. So those are for anyone, right? You don't have to be an MSP to sign up for those. You can share that with your clients if you'd like to. And then finally, on the education, adoption, resource side of things, we are reworking Feature Fridays. We've been doing Feature Fridays for about 6 months, coming up on, we launched them in June of last year, I believe. And every Friday at 11 a.m., you can join me and Allie to talk about, and the rest of the Hats team. There's always engineers, there's always, JP's in there, Mike's in there, lots of people in there to talk about how to use the new features. So we release stuff on a Thursday, and then Friday morning you can join us to see them in action and understand what they do and how to talk about those new features with your clients. They're going to be bigger and better in 2026. We're adding in use case highlights. So Allie and I are cooking up some cool things that you can do with this new admin dashboard and the reports that you can generate, how to put those into workflows and agents to make really actionable deliverables for your clients. We're also going to bring some MSPs on to share some use cases and how they're using these new features every week. So there's going to be more things. We'll do some more fun things. I know we had fun at the end of the year, but we're cooking up some cool stuff. So check those out every Friday. Sign up for them if you haven't already. And then use case support. So we have use case workshops several times a week, mostly on Tuesdays, and it's capped at 5 people, small group conversations about your use cases. We do recommend completing the AI Navigator course if you haven't done that, just because it covers a lot of the basics. But if you need help with a workflow, with an agent, trying to figure out, document processing, image generation prompts, anything like that, come on over to those use case workshops. All right. That being said, I am happy to transition things over to our partner spotlight for the month, which is Adam Barney, the president of Framework IT. Adam has been a partner with us for a few months, and I've got to say, if you want to know how to do things in the right order with adoption, internal adoption, getting your sales team ready, going to market, Adam has done things by the book. He's worked really closely with our team, and we're really happy to have him here to share some insights about his strategy. So, Adam, welcome.
Well, thank you for having me. I'll try to live up to those high expectations you said.
You already have. So, Adam, we actually first met at a use case workshop,
Oh,
and we
great.
just talked about a bunch of resources that are available. They're available to anyone at any time. What would you say to people who are curious about getting started with some of those resources, Feature Fridays, use case workshops? How was your experience with those?
Attend as much as you can. Early on, right, we got into the platform, had some minor experience building custom GPTs and things like that, but we're new to the platform and still taking this to the next level. And there was so much I didn't know that first time we met, Mark. I think we kind of came into that, had some things we were working on, but had like a hit list of questions or issues. And so attending the office hours really accelerated, I'd say, like our own internal learning and development, and for myself, really personally. And this is an area I really try to lead from the front. Feature Fridays are, I think, really critical. The pace of development at Hatz is pretty astounding at times, and there's so much new stuff coming out that it's even attending Feature Fridays, it's almost hard to keep it all straight. So I think it's really critical to be there and be apprised of what's already changed, what's coming soon, etc. And then the more self-study resources have been really helpful as well with the training resources. So I know it's tough. You got other things going on in your role. It's not just AI, first and foremost all day, every day, but really try to make use of the office hours, attend the feature Fridays, attend the partner roundtable if you can, and definitely do the training.
We didn't pay Adam to say that at all. But uh, Mike Hoffman has been working with Adam since the beginning. So, Mike, I know you want to talk to him about your experience with the go to market and getting his team ready. So, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, absolutely. And Adam, appreciate you jumping on. So essentially for kind of partnership decisions, so I know you chose to partner with Hatz, very early. Would you mind kind of walking us through the decision? Is there anything you saw about the platform or anything around the vision that made you see this as a good strategic move for your organization?
Yeah, to be frank, we even tried another platform prior to Hats, and I won't name names or bash competitors of Hats, but essentially, when we started thinking about how we want to go to market and how we want to help our clients with AI and AI-based automation, we were looking for a few things. At minimum, the security and data privacy element, that's like a must-have, obviously, as a managed service provider selling to businesses and a lot of compliance sensitive industry. So that box had to be checked. The next thing we were really looking for was a kind of unified platform that gave access to multiple LLMs so we could play off the strengths and weaknesses of each. We knew that was going to be important in the long term. We didn't want to wed ourselves to just like one of the large language models, etc. But third, and I think this honestly is where Hats blew me away really quickly, was we wanted a platform that was easy to build within, easy for ourselves to build the workflows and the agents and the automation within, but also easy enough that our clients could do it. Like many of the MSPs on this call, a lot of us focus on small, mid-sized business. They do not have IT departments or they don't have a sophisticated, well-rounded one, and they certainly don't have AI prompt engineers, right, in-house. Neither do we as an MSP that's newer to offering this service. We're getting there. I'm sure we'll be there actually in a year, but we don't have like full AI prompt engineers, and neither do our clients. So I wanted something that was, had a good user experience that was kind of easy to build at least those beginner and intermediate level kind of use cases. And, I mentioned we tried a different platform and looked at a few others. And they had, generally speaking, all of them had the security and privacy element to varying degrees, access to, some of the large language models, although not as extensive as Hats had from what I had seen in my evaluation. But in that third area, kind of the ease of use to get in there and build was phenomenal. Um, what I didn't know, when we were kind of deciding on the partnership is what that actual partnership would look like when the rubber met the road after we signed up, after we onboarded. And that's obviously really critical to the success of a long-term partnership. And it's hard to assess before you're a client. And, my expectations, I suppose, or my hopes there have been exceeded. This team's been really easy to work with, really supportive, really flexible. I guess like really dynamic in kind of responding to where we're at and meeting us where we're at and helping us go to that next step and that next level.
Excellent. I appreciate that, and we greatly appreciate your partnership as well. Another question, just kind of on, the go-to-market strategy. I know that's a key component of what we're looking to build out here is allow MSPs to develop their AI as a service division. Have you seen your strategy evolve since adding hats? Is there anything that you saw that kind of like unlocked the ability to sell it? I know when we met previously, you said it's pretty easy to sell it to your customers compared to some of the other things that, MSPs kind of go to market with. I think, the sales cycles are shorter and whatnot, but could you kind of give any insight into what you're seeing around actually selling it and commercializing this stuff?
Absolutely. And I think, my thoughts are evolving there, and I'm sure they still will be. But if I were to look back 6 months ago, I thought going to market with this was going to look very different than the experience so far has been playing out. And what I mean by that is I kind of expected to have to really handhold everything for the clients to go in there and help them find every use case, to play business consultant and sit there for hours picking apart every department's processes and going, aha, here we can do something, here we can do something. And then having to quote loads of consulting hours to sit, build, and test and train them on all of this. And I saw that as an unfortunate necessity I thought was going to be present, right? That was going to be required to get them to gain traction and to get the true benefits that this can unlock. Um, my thoughts there have evolved. And I think part of the reason for that is as I've familiarized myself and our team has and built comfort around using Hatz, and then Hatz has evolved, right? With features like the Hatz Workshop Assistant and some of the other agents that help you learn how to use Hatz, as well as some agents we've built to help people build, to develop use cases, assess ROI of use cases, and then to actually build out the workflows and the agents for the use cases. My thinking pivoted from this is like a very consulting heavy engagement. We're going to charge lots of consulting fees to come in and build things to clients, to instead show them the power, the potential in the sales process, get them on board, but then empower them. Instead of having to be the one like pulling the cart, so to speak, every step of the way, to actually empower them to push the cart themselves, right? And that's really changed, I think, my kind of mindset or attitude around the go to market. As Mike mentioned, like going out and selling this to clients has gone even easier than I expected. I was already pretty excited and impressed with the platform, and I had a feeling it would show really well in demos and things like that. That's proven to, that's been my experience. Um, with the client meetings we focused on going to our core managed services clients first. It has been a very quick discovery, do a demo. There's almost always interest after the demo. Not a single person's come back from a demo and said, cool story, not interested. It's usually, yeah, we're very interested. Let me circle up with the leadership team, or check back with me in Q1. The holidays are really busy, right? We heard some of that. But many deals have closed within 2 weeks of having the meeting and doing the demo, and the signature comes back. And so that's kind of aligning with my shifting perspective on going to market with this, that maybe the initial sale or win is easier than I expected, but I'm realizing the real battle starts afterwards. And that is, again, building them up to kind of go along a journey from crawling in the use of these things to walking to running, right? And crawling to me is just the basics. It's doing the training, it's learning chats, learning your way around the platform and the tools. Walking is them starting to build some level of capability to develop, workflows, automations, et cetera, themselves. And running is when that kind of hits the flywheel effect, where they're, have a creative flywheel internally. They're developing, they're implementing, they're proliferating that knowledge within their own organization. And so what I'm seeing going to market is the bigger focus effort on our end needs to be less on selling them and more on enabling the adoption and then empowering them to approach this more autonomously, to not depend on us to come in and discover all the use cases and build for them directly ourselves with our own time. Now they still need us, right? We still have a big place in the value chain, but that is really, again, to expedite their crawl, walk, run journey. Same one we went on, right? Over the last year, right? We need to expedite our clients going on that, help build up the motivation, help them understand the potential, help them think creatively, learn how to assess use cases and ROI, and then, of course, how to build and how to iterate afterwards. So that's where a lot of our focus has been, because if it sells so well and it's easy to get them in the platform, I truly believe this is one of those technologies. The more you use it, the more you understand it, the more you believe in it, the more you can't live without it, and the more you essentially increase your usage of it. So trying to accelerate that journey for our clients is mutually beneficial. They can realize productivity gains faster by being able to build themselves and not be dependent on us every step of the way to discover and build and test for them. But it also is beneficial to us as, yeah, we may not collect some consulting fees, one-off upfront stuff that most of us MSPs, right, aren't focused on driving anyway. But if we drive that adoption, we drive them up into higher plans. They're getting more value in ROI. It's truly mutually beneficial. So putting a lot of focus and resource into adoption and enablement on the client side and trying to mirror some of the things we're learning from how Hatz has been supporting partners as well with our own clients.
Excellent. Appreciate that. And, we agree with a lot of those points. It's a journey for sure. It's like the more you use it, the more you can see what you can do with it. And, getting in there and getting started is key. And I guess, one last question to wrap it up, and then we'll keep things moving here on our side. As you think about your roadmap ahead in terms of like, thinking about your journey so far, would you have any feedback to MSPs that want to see every feature just exactly how they want it before they go to selling it? Like, do you think trying to get traction with customers sooner than later is beneficial? Or, sometimes we run into, well, I don't really feel it's quite ready yet. I don't see this ability, I don't see that ability, and kind of goes into a rabbit hole where it leads some partners to not really take advantage of the partnership, and it kind of stalls out a bit.
I think with platform where it's at today and where it's at 3 months ago has enough use cases, enough capability, enough potential that can be unlocked in every organization, my own included, and clients that there's no reason to delay. I also kind of think that you could always make that argument.
Right.
There's always something huge right around the corner with Hatz in particular, but even just this technology in general, it is evolving rapidly, and Hatz is evolving rapidly to keep up with it. So if you get kind of hung up on, well, we need this before we can really sell it, before it kind of hits at the next level of potential, you might always be in that cycle. And the important thing too with this is that we're all on this learning journey with this technology that is still very much in its infancy and like the big spectrum of technology, right? You want to start that learning journey early. That's why you're here, right? As an MSP and a partner, you're already in the top, whatever quartile of MSPs and exploring how to use this internally and how to level it to clients. You should want your clients to start that journey too, as early as possible, so that they're mastering the basics, they're getting the low-hanging fruit out of the way. And yeah, as these new features and capabilities come online, some of which could be, earth-shattering in terms of the potential unlocked, at least they're further along in that journey. They're already walking or running, and they're better able to take advantage of that new capability versus it's great if it can do something more advanced, but if you're a new customer just coming on, you're still figuring out walking. You're still figuring out the basics. You're not even going to really realize the potential of maybe this more advanced capability or feature. So I think us and all of our clients need to advance on this journey as quickly as possible. And like you guys kind of said it, and I agree with it. Like 2026, I think is going to be a big year for AI adoption in the MSP space, definitely in particular, but in businesses in general. And we need to be shepherding our clients along this journey as rapidly as we can while meeting them with wherever they're at in their journey already.
Absolutely. Very well said. And our bias has would agree with you on that, but we like hearing it from, partners themselves who are actually, on the front lines and, where they're Batman, we're Robin, so to speak. But yeah, so that kind of wraps it up. And I don't know.
Can I jump in with one question?
Yeah, I think Jamie, I think you have the authority to ask a question if you want to.
Adam, first of all, delighted to have you. Thank you for your partnership. It's been amazing, and congratulations on all your success so far. Um, I I I love what you said about how it didn't go the way that you initially thought, because it was the same thing from my take when I started the business. I thought that it would be heavy consulting, zeroing in on a use case. And what we've seen from AI projects that have like failed over the past 2 years, they've been like super complex. Let me build a vector RAG, whatever, for this specific area of the business. And then by the time it's actually built, the technology is outdated or whatever reason it fails. And you've shifted in the way that we've shifted over the past 6-12 months on let's get everyone using it, let's manage adoption at scale instead of focusing on the initial the specific use case up front. Like we'll get to that, we'll get to that. And I can tell by the way that you talk about and the way that you're getting success that your team has internal competency on how to use AI. You have a growing AI IQ inside your company, which makes those client conversations a lot easier. When you go to a demo, you say, hey, here's how I use it. Here's how things go. So I guess, could you talk a little bit more about that on, like, how do you approach clients? Do you show them how you use it? Like, and then how do you go about avoiding the we're going to stick with the COO and the 124 year old, IT manager or whatever in the company who's just going to use AI first, and instead getting the adoption sort of at scale and building that base competency out the gate.
Yeah, I think what's really been interesting is going to clients and talking about this. The first thing they usually pull out of their hat is the largest, most complex thing in their business to automate, right? They want to go whale hunting right away, so to speak. And so there's a huge education component, I think, to selling this right, setting expectations right, implementation, learning and adoption in their organizations. And you got to kind of teach them again this crawl, walk, run framework and help them understand why that's important to kind of build up from the basics first and not go try to run and automate the most difficult, complex thing. Because you're right, this is why I think they say roughly 95% of AI projects fail to deliver the ROI intended or are actually killed at some point in production. It's largely because they went whale hunting, so to speak, when there was a million opportunities for smaller automations, workflows, and agents that tackle maybe a little bit less complex things and are maybe not as meaningful individually, but in cumulatively add up to be a massive game changer for the business. The way I work has shifted massively in the last year. I feel like I'm able to do double the work, enjoy it a lot more, and focus more of my time and thought and energy on the highest value things. So, yeah, when we're talking to clients about this, I do explain a lot of how we've used it internally. That's kind of part of actually my pretext or background of how did we get to this conversation today? Let me rewind to when this technology went mainstream and tell you about our journey. While I'm literally demoing it, I use some of our agents in the demo. We have, for example, frequently asked questions agents. Instead of me prattling off all the security stuff, I ask the FAQ agent about our AI service. And while it's sitting there spitting the answer out on screen, I'm talking through it and relating it back to them and their business. And, we demonstrate the use cases throughout that process. Some of the marketing brochures I pull up, I literally tell them I built this in this platform. All of every image you see, all the
Yeah.
text you saw, it was all developed in the platform and is part of this theory, or not theory, but approach of starting with the basics and building up. One of the things we've done that I so far seems really successful is we've built about 100 what I call standard AI tools. They're applicable to 95% of businesses. Some business function almost certainly needs it. They're not customized yet or highly tailored to a particular business or industry, but we built it out and push it out to our client tenants. And the reason we do so is we want to get them thinking creatively. We want them to start to understand the true potential of this. And we want them to start getting even faster ROI than secure chat, which is great on its own. But by starting to experience using more powerful workflows and agents that they didn't have to build, right, or customize to their business, it gets them using it, getting more out of it, getting more ROI. But more importantly, in my mind, it gets them that exposure to understanding, wow, if it can do these things, why can't it do X, Y, or Z for this other part of my business? Because that's actually the biggest challenge I've seen is they know their business, they know their pain points, they don't know what AI can solve, they just know it's powerful. And that gap in between, that's where we fit in and have to help them solve. And I think we have to solve it through education. Like I said, not coming in and charging loads of consulting hours, but empowering them and trying to get them in a position where they can kind of lead their own journey with us as a guide or a Sherpa.
Love it. Love it. No, couldn't it's really well said, and the proof is there that it's working for you. So I think I just congratulations on everything you're doing. I'll shut up so we can continue getting through the rest of what we have to cover. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks again, Adam, and great questions from from Jimmy and Mike. I'm gonna hand things over to JP to take us through some go-to-market uh, resources and strategies and all the good, valuable
I
insights that yeah.
I actually thought that was it because I mean, if you could package what Adam, don't know what you're doing every month, Adam. Maybe you could pop on this call. It was
Yeah.
really good, really insightful, and no, it was exactly how we're going to cover it. I'll move quickly here. I do have a couple of things. I'll share my screen in a second. Obviously, we're very thankful for the partnership with MSPs, with the tremendous support we got last year. We actually had to increase the team, so we're going to touch on two components. But I'm going to first, I'm going to show their picture here because it'll nicely embarrass them maybe or line them up. And want to say a quick hello to Dylan and Irvin. If you could probably just pop off mute, guys, and say a quick hello.
Hey everybody, thanks JP for the intro. These are really, really useful sessions. Honestly, it's great to hear what's working and everybody's different adoption journey. So just really appreciate everyone's time and looking forward to continuing the work with Hats here in the new year.
Thanks, Dylan. Much appreciated. Also calling in from Philly, Irvin.
Hey
How are you?
JP, thanks for the introduction. Right outside of Philadelphia, this is my third day with Hatz, so this is a very, very beneficial call. Thanks for having me, and I look forward to meeting everyone and working closely with you.
That's great, Irvin and Dylan. All difficult questions go to Irvin this week, just to get you up to speed. But you're doing a great job, both of you, and we're delighted that we can expand the support for customers, and we're going to touch on more of that in a moment. Um, so Jimmy sort of touched on an element of this, and what I wanted to do today is just honestly just be very, very transparent and as practical as we can. Like over the last year, and especially the latter part of last year, we learned a lot of what actually works when it comes to AI adoption. You heard a lot of it from Adam, and now we have a very, very clear plan on what good looks like for MSPs as they get going and where partners tend to stall or fall behind. And these three things that are consistently showing up are really the momentum, the internal usage, and customer learning. Like Jimmy mentioned, pilots alone are not creating momentum, but that daily usage definitely changes the behavior. And customers are, um, when you bring your customers on board, those first cohort of customers is where the learning is definitely happening. So, from transparency perspective, this is how we think about just at a high level the partner journey, and it's successful MSPs that have followed this consistent pattern. So this is in theory, it's what we're seeing in practice, and it always starts internally. I mean, um, usage, MSPs who succeed are the ones that are using it internally, and that's across leadership, sales, onboarding, service delivery. And that internal usage does a couple of things. It builds confidence, muscle memory, gives a little bit of credibility. And from there, it moves on to customers, um, starting with just the first. you know, the one customer that you could pick the phone up to get them started, then the second, then the third. But broadly speaking, we're seeing the first cohort is about 10% of your customer base. So once reach that point, AI stops feeling new and it becomes a little bit more repeatable. But I want to double tap on actually maybe what again Adam had mentioned. You know, this, and it's often misunderstood that like AI adoption isn't about rolling out a tool. That's a component. It's about leadership responsibility. And if AI is a optional internally, it'll never stick externally. So leaders like yourselves on the call are setting clear expectations with your team. You're tracking usage and adoption. You're holding your whole organization accountable. And you don't need perfection here. You just need consistency. And again, if you look at that playbook, you can really apply that to a customer as well. It's going to be the same type of roadmap. So whether it's you or your customers, there's a natural progression. First, get the foundations right, make an AI part of the daily work. So that's back to, that internal usage, turning those simple, universal experiments into repeatable use cases. And I guess, if the hard truth here really is that, um, you know, if you don't have customers live, you're not really learning to, right? So you're applying this to your own business, but as you begin applying it to your customers, you're learning, your team are learning, and if you're not learning around how to push this out to customers, and there's a risk of falling behind. So I think that's one component. There's already a cohort of MSPs well underway. The good news is, anyone that is not yet there can definitely catch up. So I'm bringing this back up again because I want to be a little bit more prescriptive, and to be very clear that we believe every MSP should do between now and the end of February if you haven't already. And this is not like a big bang transformation. It's a focused window where you can hyper focus on internal usage, and we sort of talked about that, making sure that you're using it AI every day. It's not just been talked about. But take 10% of your customer base. If you have not already done this, and so if you manage 50 customers, pick five. If you manage 100, pick 10. Pick up the phone, don't email them and don't overthink it. Pick up the phone and ask them to be part of your initial AI cohort. And Adam touched on that as well. The first customers are so important. And you can say to them, look, you're early, you're getting preferential pricing. We're going to work closely with you and our vendor to help shape how AI is rolled out. So I think that's a really good focus point for this group. Top of the year, we could say the end of January, realistically, the end of February. That's the next beachhead for the AI first MSP, the ones that get 10% of their customers activated if you have not already done so. So with that, changing gear a little bit, and the good news is you don't have to figure it all out on your own. We're standing up a new team, which I'll get to in a second. But there's lots of supports, right? So we got an account management team. You could see there's that team's been expanded. Definitely reach out if you have any questions. Lots of ongoing support and guidance. But there's a team we're standing up called the AI Experience Team, which are going to help with that structured deployments and structured adoption. You're going to hear us talk about structured adoption quite a bit, which is really focused efforts together, where we can have clear plan of attack, where we can help you get to that beachhead of customers, give you the right supports across a lot of the team. And the ultimate goal is to remove friction and help you move faster. So, with that, I want to make sure that MSPs here are not left behind. We want to absolutely focus and laser focus on getting AI first MSPs up and running at the top of the year here. And with respect to the AI experience team, I'm just going to ask two guys to come off mute here, and I'm going to tee Dan Vaz up here first to introduce himself. And Dan, can you just maybe you're I know new, but even though he looks very young, he's a veteran. Believe it or not, he's more experienced than most of us put together. But Dan, can you give a little bit of a background on yourself, maybe your thoughts, your initial thoughts, and introduce Michael also? Be great.
Yeah, happy to. Hey everyone, my name is Dan Voz. I'm our VP of AI Experience. I've spent a ton of time in the MSP channels and communities. I've worked at organizations like Datto, Scout, Evo Security, and really the driving factor pushing me to Hatz here is the fact that most products we talk about in our space are usually focused on downtime, ransomware, bad actors, right? There's generally this negative connotation attached to it. And, truthfully here, I get to work with partners and and make you guys, AI magic, right? It's all positive, it's fun, where we're giving back time, we're getting operational efficiency. Um, within my career, within the channel, I've always focused on technical enablement. So my goal here is really to build a team that's going to be an extension of yours. We'll assist you with implementation within your organization, get through that adoption, and then work through a customer or two. It is on our own side, it is a bit of a crawl, walk, run. It's a small team today, so we're putting the pieces together, figuring out the material that you'll need, and then hopefully delivering it to the masses in the very near future. But again, I'm super excited to work with all of you closely, and Michael McPadden actually just joined the team as well. So, Mike, if you want to say hi.
Yeah, hello. Great to meet everybody. Like Dan, I've spent some time in the MSP space, also worked at Datto. Last stint was at Qualtrics, if anybody's familiar. So, really excited to help bring a really great customer experience side of the house and drive some of the objectives that Dan's going for.
So lots of help. Michael, thank you. Dan, thank you very much. More on that as we get through these partner roundtables. With that, I'm going to hand over to Matt Hamilton. Matt, how are you? We're live.
I'm good. Yeah. Can you see me?
Yes, sir. Your
Okay,
screen's
great. Yes, here we are. So just wanted to get started. First and foremost, I wanted to talk a little bit about just overall product in general. Now I've been here a few months, and I just want to, be able to ground everything into, I know we talk about a lot of features, people have a lot of requests and things like that. The big thing I want to talk about is just really when we think about what is excellent product and where are we making changes, improvements, all that kind of thing. We're thinking about it in three different buckets, which are usability, reliability, and expandability of the product itself, right? So usability, for example, that's MSPs being able to use the product effectively. Reliability, it's got to be there and it's got to be able to be available, highly available at all times. And expandability, and that's something we're also going to be adding a lot of improvements to. I know a lot of people are looking for more integrations, and so we have multiple solutions for that we're thinking about. So I just want to ground it a little bit. Anytime there's a request or a product conversation, I'm thinking about it in these different areas and thinking about what are ways that every single month and ideally every single release are we able to improve across these different sets of things. And by the way, usability, of course, MSP usability as well as end user usability. And we do plan on making significant updates in those two areas. Although I will say, and what I am going to talk about a little bit is a deeper dive into some of the usability on the MSP side that we have shipped. First, this is just a list of all the things we've updated in the past 30 days. The team has been flying with updates. There's a lot to take in, new LLMs, all sorts of other things. And then I want to double click into a few of these areas and talk a little bit more about them, which I may have mentioned in the Feature Friday, but I think are worth highlighting here. So number one is the admin dashboard. New dashboard completely blows out of the water what it previously was. And this has been requested for a long time, is understanding usage in a variety of ways. And this really allows you to see across all tenants or across one tenant, also across different time periods as well. And so it's really a massive change in how you think about selling hats, keeping an eye on how hats adoption is across or amongst one tenant. And so we open these things up, and of course, immediately we got more requests for more data. So I love that everyone is interested in looking at more data, and we're going to be rolling out more updates to some of these statistics, as well as allowing you to drill down a little bit further as well. A couple things I wanted to talk about here is different ways to look at how credits are used, where they're used, and input versus output. These types of insights are really going to help you understand usage at a different level. I mean, obviously, where credits are used is really important. Is one of your customers using it more in chats, workflows, agents, and the like? That's really going to help you hone in on whether or not they're at that point where everyone's just using chat. They don't really know how to start automating things, or maybe workflow usage is really high. It also helps you drill down and see where some of that usage is. And like I mentioned, we are going to want to ship more granularity in how those credits are being used. You know, on different in different areas. I've definitely had the question come up a couple times, which is if I do see an area where I see a lot of token usage, credit usage, where how can I figure out, you know, more granularly where that is coming from? That is something we're thinking about and we're going to be pushing as well. The goal of this dashboard is to be as useful as possible from a high level and also be able to drill down to get the answers that you need and also to be able to use this information on client calls as well. One example of that is phone agents. You know, another way to think about the dashboard is not necessarily usage, but time saved, value delivered. And we don't call that out explicitly in the dashboard, but you know, for example, with phone agents, I think that's a really obvious and really easy thing to bring to a customer is to say, you are saving many, many minutes of answering phone calls, taking in information, transferring folks, etc. But of course, that extends to other usage insights as well. And we even, you know, got a request this morning talking about how can we surface that value and time and effort saved, because a lot of folks are using workflows that is completely replacing a bunch of manual hours they used to spend. So very valuable there and something you can turn into a report that you can deliver across that. Of course, you know, there's a lot of interesting things here as well. Who are the power users? Who are maybe the early AI experts, either you know, at your firm or at a client? I think this is always interesting to see because sometimes it's not so apparent just from talking to folks, but you can see the folks that are using AI highly, and you can see what are some of the top models, and that can really be helpful in understanding either issues that people have or maybe models they need to switch to or should be interested in, especially when we ship new models that kind of deprecate some of the old ones or have been deprecated by those companies. And then on the bottom here, workflows run, workflows built. I do want to mention two things around these statistics. Number one, they're updated every day. So it's not necessarily real time. It's essentially daily that you're getting those updates in terms of usage. And then number two is we are trying to be as inclusive as possible with a lot of these statistics. So if you do have questions about them or feel like they are not quite accurate, we are going to be rolling out hopefully better explanations as to exactly what they represent, but they're trying to be as inclusive as possible. So for example, let's say you have a workflow that is in draft mode, has not been published, but you've run it a few times in preview, that is going to count towards workflow runs in general, because it does use credits. And so we're trying to be as inclusive as possible there. So just a note on that. This is a fun graph. I would say it really just helps to understand maybe there's a client that you know, is using things at certain times of day, or maybe they're globally distributed and they're using it at all hours. Maybe there's cycles that you can identify here. I think it's pretty cool to see. We'll see what trends come from this. You know, I think it really depends on the use cases and actually when people are using Hatz to see certain trends. The workshop leaderboard, I love this because it really shows maybe there's a workflow or an app that one person has created and shared with the company that is in high usage. So I think there's a lot of, I think it's pretty cool to see that and to, you know, and to see that, you know, there's again additional value being created based on one person creating a workflow that multiple other people are using. So I think that's really valuable. Then, of course, the last thing here is you're able to select, you know, multiple tenants. You're able to slice and dice that however you want. So you can look at all tenants, one tenant, three tenants, etc. there's different MSPs that have different categories of customers, and they want to see that. You can see that across multiple different time ranges, including custom ranges. And then this one I want to highlight here, which is you can download a lot of this data as a CSV. So we do allow you to generate an LMS report, but this option below here, which is download a CSV, I just want to call out, is not related to the LMS report. This is the data from this dashboard as a CSV. So if you want to do additional analysis, whether in Hatz or somewhere else, you can download it as a CSV and take a look at it. We also shipped a brand new tenant management tab. There's a lot to go through here. If you click into a tenant, there's actually a bunch of new views as well, including workshop items. So I got a question this past week about how can I view what workshop items are being created? And we actually have a view inside of each tenant where you can do that. So again, trying to increase visibility so that if someone at a tenant has a question about something or they're having trouble with a workflow or an agent, you can actually go in there, check it out without a lot of friction. So that is huge. And then, of course, on this screen, you can also see whether or not they're active, inactive, the login rate of users, and also additionally itemized credit usage as well. One other thing that I want to mention is being able to customize a bunch of things for tenants. We do want to roll out a bunch more tenant customization features over the next few months. And one of them is being able to put in a custom logo and a custom color theme. We want to bring this color theme across more areas in Hatz. I know we've heard that from a few folks, but this at least allows you to set it so that we can apply it across all of Hatz. And additionally, that logo sometimes is super helpful for a certain tenant to understand that that's their tenants, and that's where they're logged into. So super helpful there. Of course, we also have default LLMs and disabled LLMs. So if there's a certain model that either is problematic or people are having trouble with or don't want to see as an option, you can disable them here. You can also change the default model as well, which sometimes is useful when folks are first adopting. Maybe there's a model that you are very well versed with, or something that works well with certain examples or workflows out of the box, or chats out of the box. You can set that default language model right here. So super powerful if you haven't checked it out yet. A couple other features here is being able to enable beta features. So there's definitely a lot of experimental functionality across the platform, but number one is there's a lot of integrations right now that are in beta that we are looking to take out of beta, but they are still in beta currently. So if you want to take a look at some of those integrations, you can enable beta features or turn it off for a tenant if you just want them to see what are the bulletproof features that we've already tested and are out of beta. Just taking a look on time here, trying to get through this. The last thing here is tenant customization. This is an email template for all tenants, but it really does help in general in terms of customizing the workspace and the overall user journey for tenants and for when you're inviting new customers. We've got a bunch of email templates in there. We even have an AI-powered modification and template editor. It's actually really powerful. I'd say try it out if you haven't yet, because it is quite powerful and you can create really cool looking emails very easily without a lot of diving into CSS and HTML. We have upgraded our code execution integration. This under the hood is huge, creates a lot of opportunities. Right now, we've only enabled a few of them, but we're going to be working in the next few months to enable a hell of a lot more of them. But right now, analyzing spreadsheets, creating charts, generating files, and converting things should work a lot better than the previous Python sandbox. We've switched providers here under the hood, and it's just a lot more reliable. It actually stays active while you're in your chat for longer, so it has context for longer of what you're trying to do. So you should see a lot better performance on that. And like I said, it opens up a lot of opportunities around file usage and other things in the future, which you'll see us rolling out. There are some common prompts here that are super useful to use. I loved seeing in the chat all the suggestions about use cases and prompts and all sorts of things. Keep that stuff coming. But just in general, there's a lot of really great common prompts for code execution that work very well related to those use cases that I just wanted to highlight here. The Python code interpreter is no longer available. It's deprecated. It's effectively sunset. A lot of people have asked questions about also our sunsetting of Microsoft 365, and I wanted to touch upon that real quick. So coming soon, this is very soon going to launch. There's going to be a bunch of features that help you manage migration and notify users about these changes. We're definitely going to have deprecated things in the future and migrations needed. We're trying to give you the tools that are going to help users migrate over as smoothly as possible. We even have a feature in the middle here where you can see bulk auto-resolving some of those deprecated tools, so moving those over for customers. You'll also be able to see workflows and apps and agents that are using deprecated features here as well, and you will be able to notify users here in bulk, but you can also do that manually as well. So a peek into what's launching very soon. And then a little bit more about what's next. I think someone mentioned around MCPs. It is very soon. We've been testing a lot of things around this. You're going to be able to add custom MCPs. New MCPs means a lot of new integrations are coming on the pipeline as well. A lot of people have also talked about SSO and SAML. We are going to be launching that in effectively GA. We've been beta testing it with a few customers, and that has been awesome. And we are looking forward to that in the next couple of weeks. And then a few other things down the pipeline as well. User provisioning API. We don't have docs out yet on that, but I'm really excited to put that out there for folks that want to better automate onboarding as well. And then lastly, there's a ton of stuff to be done around workflow improvements that are just coming down the pipeline. Keep an eye out for that. I know there's a lot more powerful things we can do with workflows, and we are working on them. So stay tuned. And then, of course, at the bottom there, jump on our Canny, follow along with our changelog. That's super useful. And I'll see you at Feature Fridays.
Wow, Matt, you got like right on the button.
I tried.
Thanks everyone for coming. This was an amazing way to start the year for these roundtables. Lots more coming this year, and this recording will be sent out tomorrow. So you can check out the recording. You can revisit any of this along with all of the links and resources that we talked about today. Jimmy, any closing words for the group?
I'll just clarify one thing on the custom MCPs. We've been monitoring things closely. A lot of custom MCPs are STDIO based MCPs, which for those who are very technical means that you run them on your own computer. Also, we've done like an audit of all of the MSP based tooling, and most of them are STDIO based, and a lot of them actually use packages with known CVEs and things like that. So we've been there's a lot of good reasons why we don't want to just turn on STD, like upload your own STDIO MCP servers. We likely still will do it, and we've technically figured out a way where we can run them in code sandboxes, which is very cool. But HTTP MCP servers, which is the current standard, and is highly supported and gets auto updated and works similar to an API, will be the most supported and sort of way to go. And not all providers offer HTTP MCP servers, but I just want to call that out too, so people don't get confused as we start releasing things. Besides that, no, just super excited to see everyone. I remember doing these roundtables where we're trying to figure out how to get Zoom to work, and we had like 50 people, and we had over 200 people register for this, which is very exciting. So thank you all, and look forward to the year ahead.
Great. All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thank you all.